Here we are on a Sunday. Thank you so much for joining us here on Bengals Breakdown. Fresh off the Bengals 17-14 loss in Week 1 of the preseason to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We gave you guys a little bit of an instant reaction video late last night after the game. And today we've had some time to kind of collect our thoughts, take everything in, and we'll give you some winners and losers from the preseason opener for Cincinnati against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So that's what's coming up on today's show. But before we get into that, make sure you guys give me a follow over on Twitter. Starting to post a lot of content over there. All of our videos will be posted to my Twitter page, and various Bengals highlights, news, rumors, updates, all the latest Bengals coverage will be there as well. So give me a follow at StoneShields_. I would really appreciate it. Trying to get to 400 followers. We've really grown here over the last month or so on Twitter, but next goal is to try to hit that 400 mark. And let's see if we can't do that within the next couple of weeks. So help me out. Give me a follow at StoneShields_ on Twitter. The number one winner for Cincinnati, of course, is quarterback Joe Burrow. He came out there and he did exactly what he was supposed to do, led the Bengals down the field for a touchdown. And it's not really that is my biggest focus with Joe Burrow. It's just the fact that he was out there conducting the offense, looked healthy, was moving around well, and threw some really good passes, I thought, on that drive. Here's what Joe Burrow said after the game in terms of his performance. He said, "It was nice to score that touchdown. Had a little help, but it was a nice start. Not much of an adrenaline rush, I'd say, not like Week 1. I knew I wasn't playing a ton, but it was nice to get back out there." There you see Joe Burrow's stats here, 5 of 7, 51 yards with that touchdown to T. Higgins. He alluded to, getting a little bit of help. If you remember on that third down, Joe Burrow kind of, looked like it was an uncatchable pass for T. Higgins, but they get the PI call, extend the drive, and eventually are able to punch it in with a T. Higgins touchdown. But just great to see him back out there. I know some people were like, "Oh, I wish he would have played more." That's not, my way of thinking. I thought it was perfect. I just wanted to see him for one drive. It was going to be a bonus if you could get him into the end zone, and that's exactly what happened. So certainly happy with what we saw from QB1 last night at Paycor Stadium. So let me know what you think. Were you pleased with Burrow's outing? Type Y for yes or N for no in the comment section. This is totally a Y for me. This is all I was expecting. One drive. Like I said, it's kind of a bonus that it resulted in a touchdown. So let me know what your thoughts are at the pinned comment of today's video. Another winner I have on here is Germaine Burton. Now, this is interesting because it was kind of a shock for me to not see Burton earlier on in this game. He really didn't make an impact till the fourth quarter, and he wasn't really running out there with Jake Browning. It was Logan Woodside who was his quarterback out there on Saturday night for the Bengals. But as you can tell, 3 catches, 82 yards, a touchdown. He really had that, the touchdown was a beautiful route, just completely blew past the guy that was covering him, and Woodside really put it right in the bucket for him. And then that last catch that he had really gave the Bengals an opportunity to win the game, and he really went up there in traffic and brought it down. So a really solid performance from Jermaine Burton, but again, interesting that he wasn't able to get out there until towards the end of the game. So this is kind of what we have as the depth chart at this moment for Cincinnati. But, when they released their depth chart ahead of this game, they actually had Trenton Irwin in that wide receiver 3 spot. We still think that Burton's going to be one of those guys, according to what we have here. But based on, him not getting out there till late in the game last night, I don't know if it's an issue with the playbook. That's really the only thing that comes to mind, just having trouble kind of digesting that. And if that's why, he hasn't been able to, or he wasn't out there earlier in the game. Zach Taylor said it was just because, the twos were just not performing well, and they didn't have really an opportunity for him to get out there. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if Jermaine Burton goes out and plays a little bit earlier on in the Bengals' next preseason game next weekend. Another winner that I have is Dax Hill. I thought Dax Hill was spectacular last night. He had 3 pass breakups and nearly had an interception as well. Would have been an unbelievable interception, but he kind of tipped it up to himself and nearly caught it, but it kind of came out as he got down to the ground. But for now, DJ Turner has that cornerback 2 spot, and it seemed like he's kind of created some distance between himself and Dax Hill. But I thought last night's performance from Dax Hill kind of puts Dax right back into the mix for that position. I thought he played really well. He played significantly more snaps than Turner last night. Turner did get beat once, I believe, on kind of a crossing route, but he really wasn't out there for a ton of reps, so hard to really, evaluate his performance, so to speak. But Dax Hill was absolutely phenomenal out there, and he looked really big. Obviously coming over playing safety, he looked really big out there as a corner, so I thought he did an outstanding job for the Bengals last night. Once again, an opportunity for you guys to get involved with our show here today on Bengals Breakdown. Name a preseason Week 1 winner for me in the comments section. Is it one of the 3 guys that I've already mentioned, or do you have a new name in mind? Let us know right now in the comments. We'll keep it at the cornerback position with rookie Josh Newton, 5th-round pick for the Bengals in the 2024 NFL Draft. That interception he had was really awesome, and he was kind of banged up before that. It was kind of getting evaluated by the trainer, so you didn't know if he was going to come back into the game. He does, and he just made an outstanding play there on a Kyle Trask pass. I think Trask kind of underestimated his, vertical ability to get up there and grab it. It certainly was a little bit underthrown as well, but I thought the ball skills from Newton on that play were outstanding. And, it was a big play for the rookie. And as rookies, if you get a turnover like that in the preseason, that's something that obviously stands out. And I thought Newton looked really good last night as well. And our last winner here on today's show, Maema Njongmeta. We talked about him, prior to the game as being one of those 10 players that we had an eye on for Cincinnati, and I was really happy to see what he did out there for the Bengals. He was flying around, led the team in tackles, played a ton of snaps, and he was involved with so many different plays. I believe he had 10 total tackles, and 7 of those were solo. So he's really putting himself in the conversation to potentially make this roster and be that last linebacker. So I had a feeling he was going to go out there and play well and kind of make a name for himself. I was excited to see him do just that, and we'll see if he can back it up these next 2 preseason games for Cincinnati. Before we get into some losers, I want to give a shout-out to our friends over at Game Time, because today's show is presented by Game Time. And I love the summer because Major League Baseball is in full swing, and I love making the walk down the street from our Chat Sports offices to a Reds game any chance I get, even though they're still struggling against the Brewers and can't seem to figure that team out for the life of them. But prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to the first pitch. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. And with the NFL season approaching, you can get tickets to watch the Bengals at Paycor Stadium. And they don't just have sporting events either. They also have concerts, comedy, theater, and more. You want to check out the Aronoff Center? You can do that. Head on down to Riverbend. You can do that as well with Game Time. I really love the zone deals. You choose the section, and then Game Time chooses the seats for you. So download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code ChatSports for $20 off first purchase. Check out GameTime.co for last-minute tickets. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets at the lowest price, guaranteed. All right, so now we get to the kind of negative part of the show, and we got to talk about some losers here for the Bengals. Jackson Carman is the first guy that steps out and pops out for you, right? Jackson Carman had 4 penalties last night, got called for holding 3 times, and also had a false start as well. And he really got beat a lot too. It feels like we're having this conversation every single preseason with Jackson Carman. It hasn't panned out. He's a local kid. You had hopes that he was going to be able to produce for you, but at this point, it hasn't worked out. And I'm worried that right at this point they can't even trade Jackson Carman, because I don't know if anybody would have any interest in Jackson Carman. They've kept him around so far throughout his career. We'll see if that changes this year. These next 2 games are going to be really big for Jackson Carman in terms of his tenure with the Cincinnati Bengals, because it could be coming to a close, and that's just reality, unfortunately, for the Bengals' former second-round pick. Another loser, Jake Browning, was not good last night for Cincinnati. Look, I understand that he went out there and filled in admirably for Joe Burrow last year. This is a new year, and he's got to prove that again. I'm not saying that Logan Woodside is going to challenge him for the backup quarterback spot. I think Jake Browning 100% has that spot, despite his performance last night, and even if he continues to struggle these next 2 games. because what he did last year is very noteworthy, and he deserves a lot of credit for that. But the biggest thing that stood out to me with Browning is his body language absolutely stunk last night. He looked like he was pouting out there. He was kind of chirping his teammates too. He was sagging his shoulders, and that's not what you want to see out of your backup quarterback. Your backup quarterback is supposed to be a guy that your team can rally around and that everybody loves and wants to go out there and go to war with, and you didn't see that last night from Jake Browning's teammates, and that really stood out to me in a quite obvious fashion. So we'll see if he can get better over these next 2 preseason games. Once again, an opportunity to get involved with our show here. Name a preseason week 1 loser for Cincinnati. Is it one of the 2 guys I named, or you get a new name to throw in the mix? Let us know right now. Sound off for us in the comments section. And our last loser of today's show is Kris Jenkins Jr., Bengals second-round pick in 2024, defensive tackle. He had some solid plays, but kind of the lasting image I got of Kris Jenkins was him just getting absolutely pancaked when Bucky Irving scored that touchdown earlier on in the game. And he also got beat pretty bad. And, Bucky Irving was able to have another run kind of in his direction. So, he's a rookie, especially at that spot. It's tough, coming in as a rookie because you're just not used to those offensive linemen being that big and strong and physical. So I'm not, out on Kris Jenkins by any means. This is kind of his welcome to the NFL moment here in the preseason. Just happy it came now. And hopefully he can rebound. And he's definitely got to be better these next 2 games in the preseason. And hopefully he can do that for the Bengals. And make sure you guys are subscribed to our channel here at Bengals Breakdown if you have not done so already. We are fresh off the heels of our first watch party last night. It was a ton of fun, and we really did a great job of growing our channel. So you don't want to miss that. We'll be live again next weekend for week 2 of the Bengals preseason. So hit that sub button right now. It's youtube.com/BengalsTV.